Webflow announced their new AI vibe coding tool, with which you can build full-on web apps that work with the designs you have and the Webflow CMS. Speaking of which, the Webflow CMS had a new rewrite and it got a huge upgrade. Now you can have more than 1 million items in your website. Before we start, two things. One, the live event was pretty bad. The sound was cutting off constantly. So another reason why you don't want to go to watch that event. And the assets, I don't know what is happening. We had these beautiful assets and now we are downgrading everything to this. Am I wrong about this? Do you not see how this is a downgrade? Anyway, no offense to anybody who made these, but come on, the previous ones were much better. So the first thing on the list, we had AI Assistant. This is not new. They showed us this before. The idea is that you have this button for the AI Assistant. You add any prompt here, and then the AI supposedly goes on to change something on the page or add something. So they showed like 2 examples. Both honestly were pretty mid, and the people in the conference, they were not really amused by it, to say the least. Pretty much nobody clapped. It was very odd. So here's this example that they show. They add here, you see, they add this wireframe idea. You see that the image is on the left, and then we have 6 items. We have subtitle, we have like a large title, and the AI understands this very well. I've tried many times like asking AI something like this, and the AI knows what it's looking at. So the image recognition is really good. But when it comes to like actually doing it and getting it really like that reference, AI, you know what the situation is. The AI doesn't really get it really well. Before I talk about the next item, again, they talk about bold design a lot, but I mean, this asset is a bit better, but I'm just a bit bitter about the assets. And they talk about bold design, but they don't show me bold design. Show me like truly bold design. Anyway, then they talked about real-time collaboration. If you didn't know, this was already announced. This is huge. Multiple people on the same page, they can design multiple elements. I've tried it and it feels like magic. Like you can create a class and your teammate can pick that class that you created and do something with it. So that is really cool. After that, they did talk about something that is indeed new, and that is commenting. We already had commenting inside of a Webflow project, but you had to share the workspace with other people in order for them to comment on it. Like people outside of the workspace could not comment on your project. Now you get a shared link for comments. So you share that link with anybody outside of Webflow, outside of the workspace. They can easily open the project, see it, and comment on it, and then you will see where they left a comment. This is truly game changing, especially because it's outside of like the Webflow environment and the Webflow workspace. I guess you still need to create a account, but you don't have to be a part of the workspace. Previously, we were using Markup, the free version of it, but they changed they I believe removed the free version, and now it's $79 a month, and I'm not going to pay $79 for a commenting tool. I believe this is just like insanely expensive. I'm just super excited about this new commenting because it will make our life much easier by making the communication between me, my team, and my clients much more efficient at no extra cost. So that is very welcome. Next, we have an update about GSAP. They showed a project made by the legendary Joseph Barry. Super cool guy. If you don't know him, check his work. He's this amazing designer with like very a beautiful taste for animations and interactions. They showed his work, and with that they also shared a few updates that they have for the GSAP engine. So this is the new Webflow animation tool, and prior to this conference we didn't have support for different breakpoints, so you couldn't have an animation to be turned off or on based on breakpoint now that is available. And not just that, you can actually have an option for reduce motion. So if a user doesn't want to be bothered by animations, they can set that in their browser or actually even on their operating system level to not see animations. And if you continue to show them animations, that's not really nice, it's not accessible. With this option, you can now turn off your animation. So you build an animation, but you can choose for users who do not want to see it, for them to skip to the end of the animation, for example. So they don't lose the context. If you're showing something at the end, you can still show it, but without the motion. And that is super accessible, super nice, very welcome. And with that, the GSAP tool is reliable and you can actually use it on client websites. I can recommend it because of this update. Before that, it was not so much. They also added another update that is page scoping. So you can create an animation and say on what pages do you want to show it. And they talked about the Lottie support, which is still supported in the old interaction engine, not in the new one. Yeah, it's still a transition, but that is going to happen later this year. Next, they showed component canvas, and oh my god, I'm just not a fan of these assets. Anyway, so component canvas is potentially really, really big. So you create a component and now you have a free form canvas to see all different versions of your component. And this makes me think of, Figma, Framer. Why not to like rebuild the entire Figma inside of Webflow? I mean, why not anything, but whatever. This is very interesting, and look at this UI. This is very interesting. So you have different variations, you have the structure here, and you see like the properties that you can change for that component, I guess. I'm not sure, because here you see the height and the width are shown. We don't have this anywhere inside of Webflow like this. We don't have it like this. So this is a very new UI. And I really do like what I'm seeing, and I hope that they will continue investing in this to maybe potentially create a canvas in which we can play with design. So yeah, here I said it. I want Figma inside of Webflow for real. Next, they talked about code components. So code components are exactly what they sound like. You can have your code environment inside of Cursor, VS Code, anywhere else. You can build a React component and pull that in Webflow, and it will render inside of the designer, and you can actually add even props, or like the developer can decide to add props as they show it here. So this 3D slider, which let me show you, it looks kind of like what I'm building. I don't know. I haven't shown this on YouTube particularly, but yeah, this is what I'm building, a platform. I'm not gonna make a big promise or whatever here, but yeah, I wanted to do this with code components, and I will. This is something that we are working on, so you can have a component like this inside of Webflow with all of these controls, potentially even more. So you can connect it to the CMS and you can change the styles and everything else. What is this for? This is for components that are much more complex. For example, the one that I showed you, this is built with Three.js and custom shaders, and this is like more complex than it looks like. And building something like this with just a few lines of JavaScript is not possible. For something like this, you typically need a full-on developer that develops something like this in their own environment. And now the good thing is you can pull this inside of Webflow and kind of like connect the different styles to Webflow properties or to the properties of that component. And the designer now can be still inside of Webflow and change and play with those properties without the need to, handle the code. Anyway, this was code components, and I believe this one has a very bright future. Imagine your client who has a full stack app and you're building a marketing site for them, and they want to show a piece of their back end inside of like the inside of the landing page. They can give you, the React code, or like they can help you with creating a Webflow component and pull that in. So it will be using, their code, and they still have the control, but you can have like the styling controls, something like this, or charts, or like many other like more complex things, like let's say a pricing calculator. You can ask a developer to build it, or we'll get into it, ask AI to build it, and then have the controls still inside of Webflow. This is super nice, and I'm looking forward to it. And now we have the biggest update so far in the keynote, and that is Webflow's next gen CMS. They did a complete rewrite of the CMS, and now we have like much better CMS, more robust with, by the way, you see with Webflow Enterprise sites, you can have 1 million plus CMS items per site, 100 fields per collection. We had 60 before, 20 multi-reference fields per collection. I believe we had 5, and 1 million CMS items per collection. So one CMS collection can have 1 million items in it. So that is a huge jump, and that is great. Now you can have the collection list that you can have per page are doubled. I believe you had 20, and I guess now you have 40. Nested collection per page are 5 times more. I believe we had 5. And the nesting level, we had 2-level nesting. Now we have 3. So that is really nice as well. I'm not sure actually if I would need more, but nonetheless, this is much better than before. And yes, they talked about the CMS APIs. What I don't know about if the CMS API rates are changed. We don't know that yet because the rates were super low, so low that you could not use Webflow CMS for any kind of like busy full stack web apps that needed a lot of like CMS API calls. Maybe they have changed that, or they will, but I don't know if they talked about this. And the next thing they talked about was the whole industry going from SEO to AEO, which is answer engine optimization. With the rise of AI, people are not visiting your website as much, but who does? ChatGPT and LLMs and these chatbots, these AI bots, they crawl your website and they read your website. So what you need to do is to have your website prepared for them, so they can serve your clients with their answers. That's the new SEO, which is called AEO. And Webflow is making some real changes, and they are building like tools around this. So for the start, they showed how with Webflow AI, you can add now title tag and meta description. This is just great and very easy. It looks at the entire context of your page and writes down everything that you need. So for example, the Webflow AI can now look at the entire page that you have and generate title tag and meta description for you. You can obviously edit it, but this is a great starting point, especially that it has the context and you don't have to, ask ChatGPT and then copy paste it. It's all inside of the tool that you use. And they didn't stop there. Now inside of the audit panel, you can actually add alt text for your images. So if you add an image without alt text, you can generate the alt text, and again, you can edit it or just accept what the AI sees in that image and describes it and then adds it to the alt text field. This is great because now you don't have to do all of that work manually. And another thing the AI can do is to generate a schema markup. So this is essentially like a block of code that tells search engines and LLMs what is the content of this page. This is like super helpful, and we've been doing this for clients. This is great for SEO and AEO. I would be a bit skeptical of the code that the AI generates here, because it has to be clean and it has to be in a specific way. Nonetheless, this is super cool that the AI can do it. I'm just a bit disappointed that Webflow doesn't have like a UI for schema markups. I know that this is probably a bit too complex to create a UI for. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is something we've been doing for clients as well. As you see here, we have something for their glossary, and you can have like literally hundreds or thousands of like words, keywords in a glossary, and then you can have like hundreds and even thousands of FAQs of things that people could potentially ask. You can have all of this in a CSV file and ask ChatGPT or any similar tool to help you to curate that, and then once you curate it, you can pull all that inside of the Webflow CMS and then feed the CMS with it. And this is exactly what we've been doing for clients, and showing like really good results, and of course mixing that with schemas. All right, so another thing they talked about was Webflow Analyze and Optimize. Now you can see heat maps of your pages, so how long users are scrolling your page and what they are clicking on. This is a paid feature, and I'm still like using Microsoft Clarity for my clients because it's free. It does all of that. But what is nice about Webflow Analyze and Optimize is that they are very much integrated and they are in the same view. So it's much nicer for clients to just, be there and click on insights and see all of these insights. And by the time we see that Webflow is adding more features, which is great, but overall, I'm still using Microsoft Clarity. What is new here and was really interesting was to see like these different sources, and to see like where the users are coming in from, and in this case, like generative AI, how many of them are trying to read the page. And not just that, they also showed some goal and goal reporting. So you can have a goal of how many people you want to click on something, and then use Webflow Optimize to optimize, for example, your headings, your copy, or your images, so more and more people would do what you want them to do. That is potentially very interesting. I have to try these, but honestly, I haven't had a project or a client who is willing to spend this much money, because these are asking for quite hefty amount of money, especially for Webflow Optimize. And yeah, this is something that I would like to try and see how it actually works. So here are the last two big updates, what you've been waiting for. We had Vlad on the scene. I was hoping to see him. He's the co-founder of Webflow, super energetic, and they announced these two features. First one, code gen components. So you ask AI to build a component for you that you can pull into your website and just use it. So here they showed how the AI created a pricing calculator, and then they got that pricing calculator inside of the project and they mixed it with the rest. I want to get my hands on this obviously and try it and see how good it is. I assume this is like any other AI tool. It's not quite as good as companies promise it, but it's a starting point, and I guess this could be like useful for maybe prototyping or simpler stuff. Nonetheless, this is where we start having these code components mixed with the website, and this is what gets me excited. But the real exciting one is the next one. It's not just creating a component with AI, it's creating a full-on project with AI. So here we have it, and it's called App Gen. With App Gen, you can write a prompt, but what is super impressive and interesting is you can pull in collections and components. So you can say, hey, I want to have this app, but use the data from my CMS and use like the styles or like the components that I already have, like the navigation, the footer, the cards. Use these styles with this data this is the direction that I would hope that they would go, and they are going this direction. Not exactly, but very close. So they ask it to build kind of like a calendar app, and it does. It's all I guess it was all live and it worked. It took some time, and here we have it. It's a calendar app using the CMS data and the styles that is from the website, and it worked. I guess this is not super complex, but still, for something in beta, this is really interesting. What is not exactly the thing that I hoped it would be, it's that it's kind of like separate from the rest of the project you have. So you see here we have App Gen, and next to that we have the designer. So the App Gen has its own complete environment and structure. It's using Astro. This is still far ahead than any other tool that is out there. Like Lovable is just the App Gen that Webflow has, but Webflow has, you know, the entire Webflow side, the designer, the editor, the CMS, and all of those things. In addition to that, now we have App Gen. What I wished was to have like more control over, you know, the elements that we have inside of here. Kind of like I hope that the AI could create using the same, inside of the same Webflow designer, if it makes sense, and not in a different space. But nonetheless, this is what we have. You have App Gen inside of Webflow. It's kind of separate from the rest, and you have a deploy button. You click deploy, and then you deploy your app to Webflow Cloud. And this is the entire ecosystem coming together, and I'm really looking forward to try this one. This sounds so interesting. I want to build so many apps, and imagine like just using this, you could prototype something very quickly to show it to a client, and then build it for real. And you could collaborate, you know, with the components and with the React components that you can pull in with technical people, with designer people. This is like opening up so many possibilities, and I'm really happy to see them going this direction. I wasn't a really big fan of the AI that they showed at the beginning of the conference, but I'm a big fan of the AI that they showed at the end. I really want to try it out. All right, so this was the Webflow Conf. Let me know what feature excites you the most, and also let me know if I'm being too picky about the conference standard and also the assets. Is it actually good? Am I picky? I don't know. I just want Webflow to be better with marketing. I feel like they are recently not as good as, you know, Framer is killing it with their marketing. They are doing such a beautiful job with it, and I want Webflow to be more creative and less like, I feel like it's kind of like HubSpot or Salesforce. I no offense to them, I don't know what Salesforce or HubSpot's marketing is like, but I want Webflow to be that creative, cool, you know, marketing Webflow that was 2-3 years ago. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will be hanging out with you there, and until the next video, peace out.